This morning, Paramount Skydance announced they are attempting a hostile takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery after Netflix announced on Friday their bid to buy Warner Brothers Discovery had been accepted. And joining us now is Seth Schachner, the managing editor of Strat Americas. So, first of all, this was big news this morning. Everybody watching this pretty closely, because I think a lot of people who don't follow this just assume that Friday this was kind of a done deal. It's not at all.
Definitely not. Good to be here, Jamie. I think this is probably going to go on for maybe a year, maybe even 18 months. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a ton of regulatory stuff. The lawyers are going to be all over this deal, and I don't think anything immediately is going to happen for some time, nor be visible to consumers, actually.
So what does that look like in a town like we live in if this is going to take forever?
There's probably going to be a lot of quiet bidding going on in boardrooms and attorneys' office, boring stuff that people don't see. But I think it's actually important stuff, because Warner, don't need to tell you, is one of our most critical legacy studios. There's a ton of American culture in there, from Casablanca to Barbie and Batman. And I think there's a lot of people all over the board that are concerned about seeing it kind of get sucked up so quickly into a tech titan. But yeah, you might see some news on it. I don't really know who's going to win yet. They're going to battle over price, but it'll go on for some time for sure.
Well, you stated one concern. There's concerns all over the map when it comes to this. You have the president saying he has a concern about Warner Brothers buying it. You've got Paramount saying that they have concerns about Netflix buying Warner Brothers because of streaming. You've got movie theaters actually weighing in, saying this may not be good for that industry. So what happens next here? And how do all of those different places, there are people working all of these places, how do they keep business as usual?
That was the thing. The biggest thing is, for me, is just the people that are working in these things. I mean, I think there's probably going to be some consolidation, whichever of these options happen. The studio system has gotten racked here. I don't need to tell you, by everything from labor strife to streaming to AI. And, this is something where I think the talent is looking at it and going, hey, we don't want to get crushed here.
Right.
But yeah, you're going to see some bidding. It'll probably be private, and I think within 10 days, the latest is that Warner needs to respond to the bid that just came in this morning from Ellison, basically, which looks superior to me, actually, and I like the idea of keeping a studio maybe intact, basically, and adding to it. They're going to keep the television, not sell it off. But yeah, it'll be unclear for probably a couple months, basically.
Well, you're talking about David Ellison, who he owns Skydance now, owns Paramount Skydance, who owns us, so we should point that out as well. But it was one of those things that when he was negotiating with Sherry Redstone and the board of directors with Paramount, they wanted to keep everything intact. Is there something to keeping these big media corporations intact versus selling off piece by piece?
I certainly think so. I mean, I'm sitting here in a CBS Paramount structure here, and going all the way back to what Sumner Redstone did. Part of the idea was that, you could combine all these different enterprises and there'd be opportunities. Synergy is a word that people don't really use anymore. Over the hill here, Disney does it particularly well. But I think the real thing is, going forward, how do you expand the business, and what should a studio look like? And when I look at the two things on the table between Netflix and between what Mr. Ellison has actually said publicly, I tend to think he's got a vision for a studio. Technology, the cloud, he's got a lot of experience making movies like Top Gun, so hopefully theaters will still be around in it. And yeah, maybe you won't see wholesale job losses, and you'll still be able to go to a movie theater, basically. That's what I kind of hope. So.
I mean, there are many people wishing for many different outcomes of this. We'll have to kind of see how it all plays out. Thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. It's nice to have someone to break this down.